Today on Bake Eat Review, we're making my family's favorite delicious cinnamon rolls.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Oh, they're nice and warm still.
Who doesn't like a good cinnamon roll? And for some people, you might feel a bit intimidated because you do have to wait for the dough to rise. It might feel like a big ordeal, but really, cinnamon rolls aren't that hard. They just take a little time. So we're gonna start the recipe soon. Stick around till the end to see real people reviewing our cinnamon rolls. I've heated up some soy milk with some sugar. And so we're going to sprinkle our yeast on top, and that's going to activate it. And the milk is just warm, like about 100, 110 degrees around there. It would be just warm to touch. And so this is going to activate our yeast. We're going to set it aside for about a minute or two. I have some all-purpose flour here. I'm adding wheat gluten and salt. And we're just going to give it a mix. We want it evenly distributed. So in this soy milk yeast mixture, you'll see that the yeast is starting to bloom. And so at this point, we can add in our butter, our melted vegan butter. And I'm just going to give this a little bit of a stir. Okay, so we have our soy milk, sugar, yeast, butter mix, and then we have our flour, and we're going to combine the two of them. So we want to give this a really good stir and combine the two. See it just all starting to form that dough mixture, but I really want to get it a little bit more even in texture. As you can see, this has formed into a little bit of a ball. So now our dough, which is a little bit sticky, is ready to rise. And so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put this in a metal bowl and in a low heated oven. So the idea is to bring your temperature up to 110 degrees on the oven, open the door, which lets out enough heat that when you put it in, it's perfect for letting your dough rise. Now I'm doing this because it's fall and it's just a little bit cooler, and so on a summer's day you can just leave this on the counter. Our dough looks absolutely beautiful because it's risen, as you can see. We're going to add a little bit of flour because it's still a bit sticky and we don't want that stickiness when we're rolling it out. So I'm going to add a little bit at a time. So it's got some elasticity to it. It's not sticking to the bowl, like it's coming away from it really easily. I'm not sure that I have to add any flour to this dough, but you're gonna have to check what the consistency of yours is. You want it pulling away easily from the bowl. So one of the other things that you can do is you can use a bread machine. And so you would put all your ingredients in the bread machine, and then in the morning you would be dealing with your dough that's risen. You'd knead it a little bit, and then you'll be ready to roll it out, which I think we are. I've sprinkled some flour on my counter just to make sure that it doesn't stick. Of course, a little bit on my rolling pin and on top so they don't stick. And we're going to start to roll out our dough. So we want to make a rectangle, and you want it to be about 1/2 inch thick. And I'm trying to make it as square as possible. This might take a little work. Okay, so I've finished rolling it out. It's about 1/2 inch thick. It's about 1.5 feet in length and probably about 14 inches long. Now we're gonna slather it with our fillings. I'm gonna start with the butter, the vegan butter. And so we'll just spread it so that the sugar and cinnamon that I've already pre-mixed is going to stick to it. We could be fairly generous with this. I think this looks good. I've spread it fairly thick. It's a cinnamon roll. We want it to have that buttery flavor mixing in with the brown sugar and cinnamon that I've pre-mixed. So now I'm going to sprinkle this on top. So the butter I put to the edge. This sugar and cinnamon mix is not going to go quite to the edge, because you don't want it spilling out. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll chop up raisins or apple. I like apple. My husband likes chocolate chips. And we'll sprinkle those in here too. But today it's just a cinnamon brown sugar mix. It's a little bit messy, but that's okay. That's all part of making a cinnamon roll. Okay, so now I'm gonna curl up the edge here, and we're gonna roll it a little bit tightly. So it kind of pushes the filling out, which is why I didn't do it all the way to the edge. Look at that, doesn't that look amazing? I'm just pinching the end a little bit because I don't want it to stick so much. So now that it's all rolled up and that I've pinched the edge so everything doesn't fall out, I am going to cut my slices. I don't really care if the slices are perfect at the end. I think that's what makes a great homemade cinnamon roll, right? So this is about 1.5 inches. And I'm going to place it in a buttered pan. And this is going to be placed in the fridge overnight. And again, it's going to rise while it's in the fridge. So I'm just placing them in the pan. You don't really need to think about if they're perfectly placed together because they are going to rise and they are going to fill in all the gaps and the spaces. And voila, look at these amazing cinnamon rolls. I can't wait to see them in the morning. I'm going to put a little bit of saran wrap or cling wrap on top of it and then throw it in the fridge. And tomorrow morning we're going to bake it, and I'll make the icing as well. So I'll see you in a little bit. We're gonna make our icing. So I'm going to add my softened vegan butter and my vegan cream cheese to the bowl. I'm going to whip that up, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to add in my vanilla and then my icing sugar. So this is combined beautifully. I'm going to add in some vanilla, and I'm going to add in some icing sugar. And it's really up to you. I think use my my ingredients as a guideline, because some people like their icing super sweet, some like them more cheesy, cream cheesy. So tailor it to your taste. This is your cinnamon bun. So the dough had risen, we put it in the oven and baked it. They look all golden and yummy. The dough has filled in all those empty spots. It smells incredible. And now we're going to ice it. We're going to smother it with this, because who doesn't like cream cheese icing? And we are definitely not counting calories if you're eating a cinnamon roll. The next step, to serve it up. Let's go see what people think of these just baked cinnamon rolls.
This is really good. Yeah,
This is really
nice. Nice
good.
and creamy.
Oh, they are nice. And what about you? How do you feel?
Very good.
Oh my god, that's so good. That's really good.
So for the guy who isn't a fan,
Yeah, I gotta say,
yeah.
that's really good.
I don't like food that is very sweet and it's not like it's not too sweet. So
Right.
I really like this.
It's really good. Oh, it's great. I really like it. Yeah, it's
Yeah?
so good. It's so good.
Perfect. It's so tasty. It's my first time eating this,
Yeah.
but
And
the
we-
taste is good.
Cheers. Oh, nice and warm still. Well done, you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice and soft, nice and gooey. Fantastic distribution of icing. Icing has nice flavor. You might think that something being a vegan recipe is a setback. This thing is not that. This thing, if anything, is better than most cinnamon rolls I've had.
Everybody loved the cinnamon rolls. I hope you try this recipe and put your comments below for me.